Mahaba yetu hayashindwi na upepo, twacheza pamoja kama wimbo wa milele.
Hello, hello, good people. Good afternoon, everyone. I wonder whether it's afternoon where you are. It's afternoon where I am. And so, good afternoon. Welcome. Karibu. Feel at home. We have such hot lunch for you. I tell you, good people, hot lunch. You have no idea how this lunch is sizzling hot. It is moto sana. It is fire, fire. Yep, I can see the fire sign there, Patricia. You are in the right place. We are chasing away the cold. I hope you've enjoyed those love songs to warm up your heart, because there is nothing like a love song to warm up your heart in this winter season. I can see people here whom I love.
Beating softly, knocking at my core.
But there's people I love more than
Every step you take leaves me in awe.
Like them, all amazing, all fantastic. So in the chat, please go in there, introduce yourself. You never know who's here. It could be a partner, it could be a financier, it could be a customer, it could be a great stakeholder, it could be somebody you need to connect with. So yes, absolutely. And just throw your introduction in there. You never know, it could be somebody who will keep you warm in this winter. Don't we all need to be kept warm in this winter? So please go over to the chat and say one or two things. Somebody wants a plug to the love song. So we shall plug you in. We shall plug you in. And so, yes, let's get this show on the road. On the road. Let me share my screen. Let me share my screen and let you know what's up. So, good people, this is what's up. Make sure that whoever is in your life that needs to be here is here. Send them the link. Tell them to join, because we want to cruise together. We want to flow together. We want to just ensure that we are moving on and moving together. So this is our monthly webinar. This is what we do every month. We feed ourselves with a great meal. This is a gourmet meal coming right up. We empower ourselves on experience management, customer experience, employee experience. It's a Q&A, and so you've sent in your questions, and we have gotten the topics that you want to hear about, and this is what we are doing. So this is our August one, and we are really absolutely, I don't know about you, but I am so absolutely excited about this and raring to go. So who is in the house and what are we talking about? Here we have our great guest, Kyle Shutter, in the house. We are talking about how to unplug, how to get loose, how to get unboxed, get unbottled, how to unlock the things that we want in our businesses to get unlocked so that we can have great experiences. What is in the way? What is preventing us from having our businesses run the way they should, internally, externally? How do we get people to do the things that we want them to do? How do we understand that? How do we analyze it? How do we get beyond and beneath the why of the why? How do we do this with our teams? How do we do this with people? And to get us into the mood and get us into this discussion is none other than Kai. Let me introduce Kai. I have the absolute pleasure this afternoon to introduce to you Kyle Shutter. Kyle Shutter thinks that he's from America, but I kid you not, this guy is a Kenyan. He was drinking uji this morning. Uji. Has any of you had your uji this morning? He was drinking uji this morning. And so we have owned him. We call him Dambuki. And so this is our Dambuki in the house. He is a serial entrepreneur. He is a funder. He is an educator. He is here to mint 1,000 more dollar millionaires. Please take notes. Not Kenya shilling millionaires, dollar millionaires, by ensuring that businesses run the way they should, are focused the way they should, as professionally as they should be professionalized, and to build a great community so that businesses in this nation are empowered. Businesses and business people in this nation are happy. have freedom, absolute freedom, are self-actualized. Imagine that, good people. That's who we have in the house, and he will take us through all of this so that we can understand better and we can ask questions and we can delve into this topic. I can see people of power porridge and Uji power congregating in the chat. I see you, good people. And so this is who Kyle is. He's been here from 2011 to date. He's been doing this for a very long time. He has over 20 years under his belt in terms of business, running businesses and empowering businesses. So I'm just reassuring you all that you are in the absolute right place. And as I say, right place, right time, right people, right conversation, right everything, right? And so with that, we want to kick this off. Kyle Shutter, the floor is yours. Karibu Sana. Talk to your people this afternoon. Over to you. Over to you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol, for that amazing introduction. I'm trying to figure out how I can share my slides. Let's see if this works.
Yes,
Y'all can see my slides,
working.
right?
It's working.
Okay,
yes, we can.
Good. Yes, I had power porridge, Uji, for breakfast. It's delicious. Well, I was converted the first time I had that. I had porridge before, then I had power porridge. I thought this is the thing. This is the thing. So yeah, Gioni, or I guess it is afternoon here. Yeah, so good to meet everyone. Thanks, Carol, for inviting me today. And today we're going to talk about the 7 reasons people don't do what you want. My name's Kyle, CEO and founder at Kuzana, an acceleration fund. So everyone, of course, wants to figure out why people don't do what they want. And I'll give you a secret. It's also the reason why you don't do what you want. We've all made New Year's resolutions, and what % of the time have we actually done those things? I love frameworks. I think of them as mental models or as tools. Think of it like a screwdriver. If you want to put a screw in, you better have a screwdriver. If you have a hammer, it's going to be very difficult to put a screw in. So you want the right tool for the job. And so I think of this as just one mental model that I use frequently. We invested in a company recently, and it made a huge difference for them, where they had someone who was unmotivated, they weren't getting the work done. We were trying to debug why, and we used this technique to actually get them to do the work, save them having to fire that person. And potentially it could add, $1 million, $2 million of value to that company. And it didn't cost them anything more than about $30 of what they had to use to implement that. So I'll share what that trick was later. So a bit about me and what we're working on. Let's see, how can I advance the slides? There we go. So this is Kuzana. We're an acceleration platform, we say, for quote unquote boring businesses. We're targeting companies with 300,000 shillings to 20 million monthly revenue, just so you get a sense of the kind of thing that we think about. And yeah, we do. So it could be agro-processing, could be fintech, could be importation of construction materials. And so I'm not sure you heard of Y Combinator or Berkshire Hathaway. This is Warren Buffett's company, or an MBA. It's some combination of that. This is my living room. This is where we host our events. And I'm seated next to an entrepreneur here named Hervé, and he was giving a guest talk here. He's an entrepreneur. He runs a public company in Rwanda. And I have the pleasure of working with him for the last few years. Actually, we raised some money for him as well in my other business. And he was telling us the story of how he'd gotten a loan from the government, half from the government, half from the bank. They used his mom's house as collateral. And we're like, ooh, you used your mom's house as collateral, but like now you're running a public company, all must have been fine. And he's like, the year didn't go very well, and we actually couldn't pay back the loan. They took my mom's house. So just to give a sense of, how devastating it can be as an entrepreneur. Now, for us at Kuzana, we were targeting 50% growth for these companies. So you see the ones in the picture here, they actually grew 170% in 7 months. So these techniques I'm going to be sharing are the ones that we use with them to help them and their team do what they want. Here's these companies. They grew There's avocado, there's health food, there's soy transport, there's pig feed. They grew from 1 million to 1.7 million annualized revenue. And here's the growth for each of them. So I'll go into this in more detail and how this technique works. And we're basing this on this company called Africa Eats. You can see how they grew every year. So there's some reason to believe this is all possible, what we're trying to do. Now, getting into this technique, 7 reasons people don't do what you want. It could be because they don't have the insight, the knowledge, the skills, motivation, habit, environment, or the culture. Let me break this down one by one. I'm guessing that I can see questions, they pop up in the chat, so feel free to post things in the chat about how to use this. So insight, I put this as a triangle because insight is the easiest thing to do. Think of this like a TED Talk. You've seen a TED Talk before. That's what that technology, education, design, I think it's called. Those conferences, you watch one, you're so inspired afterwards, you love it. And it's some idea like we're throwing trash in the river's becoming polluted, and that's microplastics are toxic to people. And once you have that insight, you never forget the insight that microplastics are toxic and it happens because people throw trash in the river, let's say. Right? And that's easy, it can be done in 5 minutes, but knowledge is a bit more complex. So this is something you might read a book on better social media marketing, or it might be on climate change. You have the insight that greenhouse gases cause global warming, but you don't have the knowledge of what to do about that. You don't have the knowledge about whether should you take planes or you shouldn't take planes, should you drive a car, how does this affect your crops? These things you can learn in a book. But now imagine I give you a book on how to play football. Are you going to be able to play football as well as Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo? You won't, because having knowledge of how to play football is different than having the skill. And so to develop a skill, it means you need repetition. And so oftentimes with Kusana and other things we've done, you can give someone the insight about the opportunity they have to make money. There's a huge opportunity in avocados, great, but they don't know how to ship them, right? So now they have the knowledge, they learned about it, they've read a few books, now they've made their first shipment. But doing one shipment of avocados is very different than having the skill of profitably sending avocados. That's something you do many times because sometimes there's mold and sometimes the Red Sea is closed and sometimes the farmers don't do what you want. So there's a skill actually developing this. And that happens through repetition. There's a skill, let's say public speaking, right? And if you just teach someone the knowledge of, you should have your voice go up and go down, and you should use gestures and right, and make something relevant for someone, that's not enough. They need to actually practice that. And then you have motivation. So as much as someone might have the skills to be a good salesman, if you don't pay them for what they're doing, then they will lack the motivation. Now, the example I gave earlier, there was a company that they had some unmotivated staff. And so we dug into like, what's the deal here? How much are you paying them? A bit less than we probably should by the market rate. And like, okay, if you don't have the money to pay them more right now, which makes sense because you're an early stage company. And so it's like, okay, how much less are you paying them? We're paying about a third. So a third is a lot. It's a big discount. So he was doing some side jobs, this guy. And so he didn't really have the motivation to keep going. Originally, he was a very good worker. So we knew he had the skills and he had the insight that this was potentially great, but he wasn't getting paid very much. I'm like, so what kind of stock does this guy have? What's making up for the fact that you're not paying him as much as he could be paid? And I'm like, well, nothing right now. So like, why don't you do this? Have a meal with him and find out what would motivate him. What salary does he need to get to and when? And then we can regain our integrity with this employee. And it turned out that he just wanted some stock options, some stock in the business, which costs nothing today. And the next deliverable was delivered completely on time. And they solved the motivation problem and actually just cost them a dinner because the stock options were, they had no value today. They only have value in the future if the company's successful. Then we have habit. And by the way, Carol or whoever, jump in if I'm not able to see questions. I think they won't pop up on my screen. Well, it might be hard for me to see. Um, Next, we have a habit. So someone might, let's say you want to make sure your teeth don't rot. And so the habit is really important for brushing your teeth because you might have the insight that if you don't brush your teeth, they'll rot. And you might have the skills of actually doing the action. You've seen little kids, like they don't actually have the skills to brush their teeth. You need to brush it for them because they don't have the skill. But over time, they develop it. I'm not sure if anyone tried, brushing your teeth with your left hand. You realize you actually lack the skill of your other hand if you're left-handed, whatever. But like for me, I'm right-handed. So with my left hand, it's a bit tricky to brush my teeth, but sometimes I can manage. And then you have the motivation because you don't want to have like, rotting teeth. But if you don't have the habit of doing it, then it's just not going to happen. Right. And then environment's a very interesting one. So this one can be very tricky to solve. Someone who's maybe trying to quit smoking, they might have the insights and the knowledge of how to quit, and they might be motivated, they want to quit, and they even have a habit of, chewing gum instead of smoking. So there's all the things, but if they're around their same friends who smoke every day, then eventually one thing is going to lead to another and they're going to smoke, right? So the environment someone's in can be very influential on whether they do what they want or what you want. There was a time I have another business that raises capital that I mentioned before, helping that Rwandan guy Hervé. And some of the staff, they weren't getting things done on time. And so I wondered at what level here should I intervene? Do they not have the skills? No, I've seen them do the work before. I'm paying them enough. And I realized that their internet was, breaking up sometimes. Their power was sometimes going down. And so that was the first problem. So we fixed that, and then things were a bit better. But I had other staff, so I had them come work with me here because we were a remote team, so we're everywhere. And the challenge with remote is you can't control the environment very well. So you can't control the internet, you can't control the power. The other thing you can't control is their notifications. So when they came to work next to me, every time someone liked one of their Instagram posts, they would look at their phone because they get a notification. And I was like, how can you get anything done? We need to solve this tomorrow. You're not getting any more notifications on your phone. So we're solving this today. You're turning off notifications so you can actually get some work done. Because they were like, I'm not sure why I can't get the work done. I was like, well, I know now, right? And then culture, this is the most difficult one to change. It's the most fundamental. It's like a fish in water. It doesn't even know it's there. And this can be really challenging. You often only see it as an outsider. So there's one time I was living at this hippie commune in Portugal, super fun people. There's dancing and delicious food and just really thoughtful, creative people. The thing about it, though, was that they despised money and they despised people with money. And they were always had a challenge trying to get enough money to keep running their commune, right? And the thing is, if your culture despises money, it's just going to be very hard to collect money, right? You're going to kind of be maybe chasing away people like that. You're not going to be discussing it. So this culture is the most deeply rooted thing, and that prevents someone from doing what you want. Some cultures, they have a culture or their religion, they have to wear certain kinds of things. In Kenya, for example, one thing that blew my mind, and obviously all cultures have differences and it's easy to see as an outsider. One thing that blew my mind was how many land disputes there are in court. And so I was asking people, so why are there so many land disputes? They're like, oh, because there's no will. I'm like, oh, I just write a will. It seems like a very solvable problem. Well, it turns out there's a cultural taboo. I'm not sure about all tribes, but some tribes of talking about death. And so if you can't talk about death, you can't write a will. If you can't have a will, then you're going to have land disputes for your children, right? And so it's going to be very challenging to create the culture of creating wills until something in the culture changes. All right, so that's the gist of it. I've given you lots of information here. The idea is, how does this apply to customer experience? There's things that you might want to be doing your customer experience, but you realize you're lacking at some level here. You don't have the skills to reply. You haven't motivated your team. with some kind of financial incentive or other incentive, there might not be the habit of checking your messages every 24 hours or something like that. There might not be a culture of doing things on time, right?
Yes,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah, so I'll leave it there. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Carol.
yeah, Kyle. You know, you have talked about notifications. I have felt like you, I have felt like you're talking to me because this
Mm,
notification thing is just a rabbit hole. It's such a rabbit hole. And so one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing. And before you know it, 30 minutes has been spent in a space where I shouldn't have been in that space. So I need to relook my habits. So a question is, Kyle, as we wait for questions in the chat and as to how, because we are struggling to have great experience management for our internal employees as well as our customers. How do I diagnose if my poor employee experiences that my people are having or my poor customer experience that my customers are having is at the insight level or is it at the habit level? Because they've talked about notifications and for sure for me, that is habit. I just need to kill this habit of going that way. So how do I diagnose where my issue is so that I can zoom in there? Is there a formula to that?
hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. I think you have to be specific about your particular situation, and you could be hitting this on multiple levels.
Mhm.
For you could be hitting this on multiple levels, so you have to think about where, what part of customer experience are you having a challenge with?
Hmm.
Why are you saying that notifications takes a lot of your time, but how does that affect your customer experience? It could be that having lots of notifications gives a great customer experience, but gives you a horrible life experience, right? You're not present for your
Hmm.
kids or other things or big picture things because you're constantly interrupted,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And
yeah,
yeah,
one thing to
go ahead.
consider is that this whole thing that I'm giving you now is an insight. It's like a TED talk.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
the tip of the iceberg. It's not solving any of the root causes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not changing your habit. Right now, you have to go and change your notifications probably, or set
Yeah.
time limits. Like
Yeah.
on X, I have a time limit of 15 minutes a day, so I just get notified. Sometimes I go over, but you know, I've just
Yeah.
changed that.
I get that. Hmm, I get that. So we need to conduct a root cause analysis using this tool because this tool is great.
Yeah,
If my customer
yeah.
experience, for example, before I go to the two questions in the chat, is not good, is it at an insight level that I don't know, that I'm not even aware that customer experience excellence is something that I need to? Do I have the knowledge to then go about it? Do my people have the skills? Do I have the skills? Are they motivated or is just blah blah blah, just same old? Have we established that we do this, then we do this, then we do this, the habit? Do we have the SOPs in place? Do we have the guidelines, the checklists, and
Mm,
so on? Is my environment such, are the things around me getting me to then cause great experiences for my customers? And then what is the culture? Because this is where the rubber meets the road. I'm really interested in your hippie community. What did they
yeah.
do about money or otherwise before we get into the questions in the chat? Tell us a little bit about that.
That one they couldn't change. No,
Yeah.
that was who they were. That was who they were. Yeah. Yeah. One thing I
Yeah.
want to add though is there's okay, how can you change your customer experience? But the purpose of customer experience and the point of a business is to make more money. So the best investor you'll ever have is your customer. This
Mhm.
is something that surprises people. The best investor you'll ever have is your customer. They will pay you faster than an investor. Sorry, the best, yeah. So they're going to pay you faster than an investor. They're not going to take a part of your business, right? They're not going to take equity in it or ownership or control you. So they're a great investor. But your very best investor is your repeat customer, and your
Mm.
repeat customer is a customer that's happy.
Mm.
And so why are they not coming back? They might not be aware. They might not have the insight that you have a second product to sell them. They might not have the knowledge about how to go about it. They might not have the skills if you've got a very complex product about how to attain that. they might not have, or they might not have the knowledge of even how your other products could help them or why they should do two trainings with you. Like one training is good. They're like, I'm done now. What does your second training have? You know? Um, there's sometimes for one company, the Yumbani Greens, that was a food delivery business. They want to have a habit for these customers to buy every month. And how do you build that habit? So you send them notifications. You can have a fridge magnet on their fridge. It says, buy on Tuesdays, right? How do you build a habit that Tuesdays is the day they buy, right? So
Right.
all these different types of things. So yeah, at the end of the day, the customer experience is to how do you increase your sales,
Hmm.
right?
The customer experience is the biggest seller, as you've said. And what I'm picking from you today is that our best investor is the customer. I think we really need to remember that at all times. There's a question from Patricia. Should we say that apart from people's personal cultures, the rest of the other factors are things we can influence, the rest of the things on this blueprint? Is that so? Apart from the
No.
personal culture, yeah. Are these things we could possibly influence?
Yeah. Roughly speaking, so this is the framework that I've just come up with over the years. And roughly speaking, insight's the easiest to change, culture's the hardest. All of them can be changed.
Mm,
So you can influence all of them. I
mm,
mean, for Patricia, maybe you can bring the chat. Is there a particular thing that you want to influence? You can definitely influence their culture as well. I had a culture, like culturally, personally. Um, I mean, how do I phrase this? I had a culture of doing lots of different things. As an entrepreneur, I had 27 new business ideas before breakfast. And there was a certain podcast I listened to, and I've listened to maybe 200 episodes over the last 3 years. And what I realized, it's a biographies of different entrepreneurs. The commonality is they're all focused. They're focused on their thing. And so the culture for me, I'm not sure if I can say yeah, Founders Podcast, exactly. Founders Podcast. Great, it's a great one. I really love it. And yeah, that's the similarity in there is that they're all focused. And so there's maybe you could say it's cultural.
mm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to have a culture of focusing and to build that and rebuild that. There's a question from Christine about influencing employees to be customer obsessed, to see the value of a customer from the customer experience professional. Sometimes the customer experience professional feels like an island. And so the question is here is how do we influence? And using this framework, at what point would that influence really, really work? How would a customer experience professional use this to influence change?
Mm,
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like an island. I'm interested in that as well. Like you feel like you're alone. You're the only one who cares about the customer. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the common thing is, so what's the employee's incentive?
Mm,
What's their motivation?
mm,
So that obsession comes from either they kind of culturally feel that it's the right thing to do. So it's almost like a religious tendency. And this is, you get really lucky if you get an employee like that who just has this culture of service. The other one is the motivation. So do they make any more money if the customers are happy? Do they get a bonus for it? Um, yeah, so it's a question to you, Christine. How do you incentivize your customer experience professionals? I mean, the
yeah, I
challenge
think also
is,
just to, yeah, sorry, go ahead and then
mm,
I'll add something to that.
you go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to what you're saying, Kyle, is what's in it for me? That's what you're asking. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
So I feel like I am alone, I am an island. My people are not plugging in and being customer obsessed as I am. And I am the CX professional. So it means that I may not have connected at some level. So what is in it for that person to give and deliver great customer experiences? Is this gonna come back to me in some way? Will I work for a brand that's so customer obsessed that when I remove my business card and say, hey, I work for Kuzana, guys will be falling all over because they know that this brand is so fantastic and the association is that. Does it come back to me because when customers come back, then the company does well, the bonus is there and our numbers are great, bottom line is great, it's coming back to me. Is there a bigger picture? Because especially leading young people, meaning and purpose and all of that is the greatest motivator. So what's the meaning and purpose and big picture in there that would motivate me to get to want to be as customer obsessed as my customer experience professional in my organization? And lastly, last webinar, we're talking about communication for influence. How am I communicating? Am I speaking in a language that they can understand? Are they plugging into what I am saying so that I say we go, and we go? And is the environment around me, am I recognizing winning behavior in a way that the environment around me has pitched itself towards great customer experience is a great thing, and we all want to do this because when we do this, this is what happens. So I wanted to add that to what you said, Kyle. There's a question here on using this as a diagnostic tool. How would we use this as a diagnostic tool? Jay is asking that.
The best way that I've found to use it as a diagnostic tool is you just write these out. You're like, someone's not doing what I want. And so the initial reaction you have is to be frustrated when someone's not doing what you want, to be sort of dejected, to even not want to get out of bed in the morning because you're just like, oh, it's so frustrating, I don't understand. And then think about, okay, at the insight level, and maybe you could say in particular, G, J, what challenge you're having, and then we can even diagnose right now. Yeah, so what at the insight level could I do? Does this person have the insight? And you're like, well, they absolutely know. Well, customer churn. Okay, so why is customer churning? Hmm.
The customer is churning
Yeah.
because they possibly have not found value in that product, in that service. They are not glued. They're not glued. They're not finding the benefit of it. It's not bringing convenience, which is what customers really, really want. It's not bringing them the the solution, the connection that they need. So customers will churn. They will buy once and they will leave, or they will not come back, and the churn will be high because you have not spoken to them in a language they understand. You've not connected with them. So why is that not happening? Is it because your people don't know what to say? Is it because you have not packaged it well? Is it that people are not motivated to get the customer education and the customer language going? What is it? So I think if we have the issue, we can come here and sort of go one by one and see. Yeah. I think that's if we're talking about churn, that's what comes to me right away. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have we not caused loyalty? Customers churn also because if we have a loyalty program, let's say, for example, I bring you and you bring me and I bring so and so and so and so, and there's what's in it for me, even as the customer. I will be your number one ambassador. I will be the one who is your walking billboard. I'm not gonna churn because I have all of this at stake and my word is there. I've told guys, oh, go to Kuzana. This is the best accelerator fund. Da, 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 da. And so therefore, I'm not about to then step away from it when I have all this bandwagon, this whole gang behind me because I felt so good I told them about it. So there's also that as well in there, connecting this, having these great connections with the customers. Yeah. So there's a bit of a response there from Jay.
Yeah. So you have a lean staff, huge customer base. I'm not sure what your pricing is. So do you ever determine what kind of customer experience you can give to them? So like I guess I asked what's your price for the product? And then how can you automate service? So you got a lean staff. I'm guessing this means that it's not producing enough, like, well, sure, it's competitive price, but is it 500 shillings or is it 50,000 shillings? So that really changes how you can serve them. For a product that's less than, let's say, 20,000 shillings a month, you can't really put a person on them. You want to have it be some kind of automated way to make sure that they stay in touch.
Yeah. And for insurance as well, just to add to what you're saying, Kyle, insurance has, customers have two needs. They
The
have a
legacy
functional
insurance company.
needs and a functional need and an emotional need. So the functional need for the insurance company is functional. This is the insurance policy. This is what you're gonna get. This is what you get out of it, and so on. And everybody almost has the same thing. But to ask Jay, what is the emotional need of your customer? What is that emotional need and how can you connect at that level? Because insurance is an emotional product. So then that will cause your customers not to churn because the people working for you have the culture of asking, what is the emotional need of my customer? How can I speak into the emotional need of my customer? What skills do they have? What knowledge do they have? What insights do they have around this? And so that as they are handling the customers internally and externally, then they are able to ensure that we are not fighting on price. We are fighting on how does the customer feel? What is the emotional engagement with customers? And indeed, if you are legacy insurance, what happens with insurances is when I feel some type of way about my insurance, I'm going to tell my whole family is going to be there. Everybody's going to come because insurance people tell each other. I'll tell Kyle, do not touch Siga through insurance. Don't touch them. He will not even go to find out. He'll just run away and not touch them. Or I will say, Kyle, run to Jay's insurance. Great. I've had a good experience that he will run there without even asking. And so there's an issue there around emotional engagement with the customer for the product, for the service. Insurance is like that. What are we selling that's not functional? What are we selling that's emotional? That's what will cause your customers to come to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jay, thanks for that, Carol. I feel like this framework is not the right one for you to solve this problem, Jay. What I'm thinking of, because like I said in the beginning, if you're putting in a screw, you want a screwdriver, not a hammer. And so this might not be the right one at this level. The one I'm thinking of is more useful as a root cause analysis. Let's say the five whys. So why is someone churning? And then you list all the reasons why they're churning. And then why is that happening? Why are they churning? You said it's not price. So maybe there's lack of emotional engagement. Why is there a lack of emotional engagement? Right? Does this, yes, there's a financial benefit of the insurance, but is that present to them when it comes time to make the purchase?
I
Yeah, so
think this
that's
could
what I would
also
that's
work with, yeah, the five whys is amazing, Carl. I think this could
what else
also
do you have in
work
mind?
with Jay's team internally. Let's now not look at the customers, Jay. Let's look internally. Do your people have the insights that customers are churning? At what level? At how much? Is the knowledge, there's the data there? Do they have the skills to prevent that churn? Are they motivated enough to prevent that churn? Have they created a habit where we are looking at churn all the time? We know that churn needs to be fixed like this. We are in the habit of it. Is the environment around us? Do we have the tools? Do we have what it takes to kill that churn? And what's the culture here? Do we panic as an institution when our customers are churning? Does the
No.
board look at customer churn in their board reports? Is it so serious? Is there zero tolerance for customer churn? If a board report shows up and it shows we churned by this mark, everybody is on alert, everybody is running. So this thing could work for you, Jay, internally, where customer churn is a big deal. And then we go through this and we diagnose where exactly is the problem and how do we run with it. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
another angle to
yeah.
it as well, Kyle.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yes, we had a company that actually the churn was a big problem for them. And they had a culture of maximizing revenue. And I told them, like, look, we're not investing any more money in you guys until you deal with your churn problem. And the next month they came back and they told us all about their revenue. I'm like, well, what's your churn? And they are like, oh yeah, we're working on it. And I'm like, look, we want churn as a number. We're not investing until we keep track of churn. And like slowly it changed the culture. But it was like a cultural thing of just, and it's very difficult to change, that churn was an important thing to think about. And so if it's not coming from the top, if it's not coming from the board, if it's not coming from the CEO, then this is a problem. And churn is like one of the most important things, in the insurance business, possibly the most important thing, because at some point, if your churn's too high, it doesn't matter how much revenue you have, you've got a hole in the bottom of the bucket. So I don't know. You could ask if churn is even important to the CEO. Is this the top thing they talk about on Monday or not?
Yeah.
And if it's not the top thing, then why is it not the top thing?
There's a beautiful comment here by Patricia. I wonder if with the large customer base, you can do a quick survey to find out what their feelings are towards the products. What more can you do to improve the experience, and any bundling and innovative riders that can be added to the products so we can survey them. I think that's always great. Feedback is always great. We need to go looking for feedback, and then that will also plug into this framework, because we'll be able to know where is the bucket leaking at. Yeah, so thanks for that, Patricia. Kyle, I have one question about the environment. So your experience and what you have explained about the environment is that I could be as charged and as motivated as possible. I could have developed the habit, but the environment is not allowing that it's to prosper. It's not allowing whatever it is I want to change, or whatever it is I want people to change to flourish. It might be a challenge to change environment for some things, or some organizations, or some spaces. So what could be done to have the environment be more conducive? If we did this, say, at a personal level, would it then influence and spread to others? Can we change the environment ourselves? So instead of running away from the smokers, as you said, maybe it's difficult for me to run away from the smokers. I live in this space. This is my territory. This is my geography. This is where my family has always been. Is there a way I could change them, maybe? Or is that just out there somewhere?
Well, in theory, changing your environment is different than changing their culture.
Right.
There are coaches I had who said the best scenario for you, Kyle, is that you are wrong and it's all your fault. Because changing yourself is much easier than changing someone else. So the best scenario for anyone is that you're wrong and it's your fault. Right? Because those are the things you can change. Like you're the average of your 5 closest friends. So that's the environment. Yes. Sometimes you need to upgrade your friends. So if you look around you, your 5 closest friends, like you're going to be the average of that. That's just the way it is. You go to a gym with a bunch of fit people, you're going to be fit. I guarantee you're going to get more fit if your friends are all fit. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So can you change the people around you? Sounds a tough one.
Yeah, it's tough. Changing people is tough. Unless they want to change themselves, maybe we can influence them, as has been said here. We can influence them, maybe, but changing them could be a tall order.
Are you thinking of a topic besides smoking of how you'd want to change them?
Yeah, like maybe if we even take this insurance and conversation we are having right now, and maybe in the environment that I am in, customer churn maybe is something that we say it's, because generally speaking, people say that insurance, at least in Kenya, they are all the same. That's what the customers say. Doesn't matter if you are this one or that one, or they're all the same. So how do I change the environment around which people have thoughts and perceptions around insurance? Could I do something different? Could I be radical? I don't know.
Yeah, you absolutely can. I mean, we had the guest speaker, Peter Ndwati, who started Resolution Health a few weeks ago at Kuzana. And his target customer was women. And he was very specific about it. She drives a RAV4, she goes to Blankets and Wine, she listens to whatever music, right? And the reason why was because he offered maternity cover, which at the time was completely new in Kenya. And he'd been working for AAR before. And he presented this idea at AAR, and they didn't want to do it. And so he left to do this idea. And that's because changing the culture of AAR was too difficult. It was easier for him to raise whatever it was, $5 million to start his own insurance company, than to actually change what was going on at this other company, which I love AAR insurance. I personally have it myself. Of course, they have maternity cover now. It's not particularly relevant for me getting maternity cover, right? But that changed the conversation around insurance. And for those women, they proudly displayed that they were. And the other thing he did was instead of people would say, oh, you should sponsor a diabetes run, you should sponsor our like, I don't know, whatever malaria thing. And he's like, I don't want what we do to be associated with sickness. It must be associated with health. It must be a premium product that people are proudly display. And they would have on the back of their car, their RAV4 tire cover would be a resolution health thing, right? And so it became a status symbol. So you want to change the conversation. Those are some ideas that have been done before and they've worked in Kenya.
Right.
And there's surely other ideas, innovations in insurance that can be done, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you have people have a very emotional attachment to what he did, right?
Right. Right. I think that's a big one. At the beginning of this, you said how this is for getting people to do things that you wish for them to do and they're not doing. But I think also the big picture here and the big takeaway is myself. Why am I not doing? Because then I must be a role model for the things I want people to do. I'm not going to influence you to come on time, Kyle, if I don't come on time. I need to have the moral authority to be able to influence you positively to do the thing that I want you to do. So when I am reflecting on myself and why these people are not doing this thing, then I need to also ask myself, where in this spectrum am I? Why don't I do the things that I want to do? And so that then I can do them and then cause people to do them. Is that making sense to you and to the others as well? Yeah. Because if I'm struggling with something, is it that I don't have the knowledge? Is it that my environment is too, unpalatable? Is it I don't have the skills? Am I in denial? What is it? Because I cannot give what I don't have. And I can't positively influence if I am not a role model for that thing. So if I want great experiences for my internal customers, for my staff, for my team, for the people who I am leading, for people who lead me, for people around me, my partners, my stakeholders, if I want my customers to have great experiences, then where am I fitting in all of this as well? How do I get unplugged and blocked? Yeah. So it's always easy to judge other people, but I don't know about judging ourselves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a comment. Yes, it could be a great tool to break through our own hesitations, procrastinations, and leadership. Indeed. So I think a big take home here is let's go and ask ourselves these questions, even as we ask ourselves in our businesses where we are stuck and where we need to come unstuck.
Yeah. What do you think, Carol? Should we ask everyone? They can put in the chat where they're personally stuck and where their business is stuck. And then people can start to think where they fit, how they can apply this to themselves in the next week.
Yes.
Because you've got the insight, you've got some knowledge, and then the skills, you have to apply it to get the skills for it. Presumably you're already motivated to do so. If you're here, you're very motivated people. You're already the top 1%. So remember, you're very special if you're here today. If you're spending your Monday at whatever this is, 1 o'clock to be here.
Yeah.
So like, for example, so people can put in the chat.
Yeah, you can tell us yours, Kyle. Mine, I've told you, is just madness with notifications, and I need to get unstuck there. That habit needs to go. It used to go like yesterday. Tell us yours as other people put theirs in the chat in the next 3 minutes or so, and then we will wrap up in 5 minutes time.
Wrap up. Great.
Yeah.
Personally, I want to be better at harnessing awareness on social media, so better, more effective. So I'm not sure. I feel like I've got the insight. I have maybe most of the knowledge. I think there's some skills that I miss.
Okay.
There's some kind of culture as well where you don't want to post something on social media and have it backfire. And the best thing on social media is something that's maybe controversial or funny, and it's very easy for those controversial or funny things to like land flat. So having a culture of being comfortable with failure, right?
To
Very
develop a
public
culture
failure.
of being uncomfortable with
Yeah,
with
yeah,
with,
yeah.
with failure. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
my culture is, or the culture we mostly grew up with, is that that's yeah, that's the
Okay.
thing. But yeah, and then
Okay.
for other people to do for what my business where I think it's stuck, where they're not doing what I want, is they're not every week we train companies and they're not updating the the tracking system that I want them to do. And I think they don't have the knowledge. I think they don't have the knowledge of actually how to do it. And I can certainly say, and generally when you have some problem, like why are they not entering information rather than saying like, oh, let me pay them money to go do it to motivate them, start from the top and say, do they have the insight of why this is important? I think they have the insight, but I think they don't have the knowledge of how to do it. So we just go down one step at a time rather than starting to throw money at a problem. But really the problem is they don't have the knowledge,
Right.
right? Rather than trying to change the culture of like, oh, it's a cultural problem that these particular entrepreneurs just don't like writing. Like that's gonna be very hard to change. So let's not start there, right? So we got some here in the chat. Habits for sure. Great. Faith says consistency is what I need to work on. Consistency. Consistency can be a habit thing. So habit, have you ever read is it called The Power of Habit? Was it Atomic Habits? Maybe Faith, you've read that one, but that one's like habit stacking. You want to start flossing, put the floss next to your toothbrush, and then when you brush your teeth, which you already do, you're gonna be flossing as well, right? An idea for you. Diane, I am in the process of opening a platform that links Gen Zs to people who can help them reach their goals through networking, mentorship, coaching. Reach out to me. Okay, great.
Great.
So you're in the process of
Okay.
opening a platform. Okay. Really, for me, it's my own reflection of making perspective and other clients obsessed about my service. Just reworking it back to it is a me thing, which they see or an environment or culture shift. One more signups.
Okay.
Training and
Great
advisory.
sharing.
The great thing about training and advisory is if you have some kind of insight that you can impart on people very quickly. So you don't give them, if you got a cup like this, you don't give them the whole cup, you just give them the handle. Like something to grip it by, but then the whole thing will appear through the training. So you can there's usually some part of this you can nip off. Anyway, I know we want to close up. I was going to share this. It's not sharing the whole screen. But anyway, you can find me on LinkedIn, Kyle Shutter. Follow me. I try to write spicy posts that are engaging on LinkedIn. And I have this 7 reasons people don't do what you want video, so you can refer back to it easily.
Yeah.
And a much shorter, it's only a 3-minute video.
Put it
I
for
can
us on the
post it.
link. Post it for us on the chat.
I'll put it here in the chat.
we can pull the link from there. Thanks for that. Great resource. I will also post on the chat the link to our WhatsApp platform where we have Q&A. You can ask as many questions as you want in there. And we do this on Mondays so that we can answer your questions on this and anything else that you want as regards experience management. And we want to end with our quote. Let me share the quote that we always end with, which never grows old. This is it. This is the quote, good people. We are saying that delightful experiences do not happen by default. They are as a result of intentional design to ensure outcomes that exceed customer expectations. So this is design. This tool is design, that we are designing it. We are thinking through it. We are diagnosing it. We are making it happen. We are deliberate and purposeful about it. It's not by mistake. It's by design, not by default. So let's check that the things that we are doing are by design and not by default. So welcome. Once again, thank you very much for being here. Kyle Shutter, give us your parting shot, the last word, and then we close this delightful lunch that we have had.
I'll just say this. I think Kenya, and your customers are very lucky to have you. And you're going to provide amazing customer experience for them. So thanks for hosting me, Carol.
Welcome. Somebody has said this has been delightful, Uji. Indeed, it has. See you all in a month's time. Go out there and create very delightful customer experience, employee experience as well. And let's do this once again. So bye, everyone, and have a lovely, lovely rest of the day and rest of the week ahead. Bye. See you all.
Bye-bye.
Asante sana. Bye.
Shindwi na upepo, twacheza pamoja.